What is going on, everybody? It is me again. It's HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video. And I guess welcome to another convention recap. Excuse me for my voice. My voice hurts a little bit because I did a lot of talking today with the mask on at the convention. So when you talk for a lot, your voice kind of gives out a little bit. Yeah, I was just talking when BSing with all the con goers, meet a lot of new good people, things like that. So have the wristband right here. This was the PA Horror Con that was in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is actually less than an hour from where I am, so it was pretty close. So I figured I'd make the trip up there. It was a Saturday and Sunday only show, so of course I went Saturday. And got to meet 4 more celebrities. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the Monster Mania convention recap the last time I did a video, where I did it in multiple parts. And I know a good subscriber here of mine, Steven Hereda, I forget the last name, but he said to me in a comment, and for some reason this comment didn't show up on my comments, so because like YouTube is, I don't know, they sometimes it shows certain comments and sometimes it doesn't. So so what I was saying is like I did see the comment and it said that like the first part of the video cut off. Well, Steven, if you're watching this, I actually cut that into 2 parts because I could only upload a 15-minute like maximum video, but I didn't want to feel like splitting that into 2 parts like separately. I just figured I just keep going on and end up being like a 23-minute video because I like to take my time with these recaps and things like that. So so that way I can talk. I'm not talking that fast and things like that. And that way I can just upload it in parts and I can just splice together from where the first part left off at. So that way when it cuts off at that first part, then I can splice together the second part and I'll just start off where the first part of the video, the first part got cut off at. So that way it continues on. So that's to answer your question. So I'll be doing the same thing with this one. And like I said, I'll be doing the same thing where I'll be talking about the celebrities first, the story that I have about them, my picture with them, and the picture if I have them signing it, or then I'll show you the picture of the autographed item. I didn't. I always keep trying to remind myself. I always want to take a picture of the celebrity signing my item, and I forgot to do it on 2 of the 4 celebrities I met. So it just shows my brain doesn't function all the way correctly sometimes, so just bear with me. But it was a lot of fun, though. It was a little smaller horror con, definitely nowhere near as big as Monster Mania, like celebrity-wise, but they had a pretty decent amount of celebrities, and of course not as big of a vendor room, so there's going to be no Blu-rays or DVDs in this recap. It's just autographs and pictures and things like that, like no, like, items like mugs or DVDs or Blu-rays, you know what I mean, like, buttons or magnets, like nothing like that, just autographs and pictures. So, I figure the first one I'll talk about that I got, which was the number 1 person that I wanted at the con, and that is William Forsythe. People probably don't know who William Forsythe is. This is a character actor who's been in a ton of films over the years. Of course, a lot of horror fans would know him from The Devil's Rejects, and Rob Zombie's Halloween. That's what the main thing was there for at this con, was a Rob Zombie's Halloween reunion. They had Scout Taylor Compton and Tyler Mane, William Forsythe. A few people did cancel last minute because I think they had to do something, like Hannah Hall canceled. I forget the kid's name who played the kid, Michael Myers, in Rob Zombie's Halloween, Doug French or something like that. He canceled. But there were still quite a bit of the Rob Zombie Halloween people there, like Scout and William and Tyler and Christina Klebe, who was in Rob Zombie's Halloween. She was there too. So that was like the main thing. There was a Rob Zombie's Halloween reunion. But I was gonna get William. Like I said, William Forsythe has been in more than just that. He was in Stone Cold and Dead Bang and The Rock and his little cameo in Career Opportunities. He was the bad guy in Out for Justice, and he was in Raising Arizona and Relentless 3 and Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, was the detective guy who was following Deuce Bigelow, Rob Schneider's character. Um, and of course, the Dear Mr. Gacy, the new John Wayne Gacy movie they did with him in it. Um, I mean, just look up William Forsythe. There's been in countless and countless amounts of movies. Fantastic character actor. It's always great to see him on screen as an actor. Always really enjoyed him. So, of course, I got him to sign my Stone Cold Blu-ray. William Forsythe was a very, very nice guy. Very humble guy. It's kind of funny, me and William Forsythe and his agent that was with him, we talked for about 10 minutes because William Forsythe and his agent, his agent pointed out that I was wearing my Andrew Dice Clay shirt like I did with the Monster Mania convention. And so me, William Forsythe, and his agent were talking about Andrew Dice Clay and how he did a comedy show recently and how Andrew Dice Clay is so on PC. And William Forsythe is a really big Andrew Dice Clay fan, and so he was spitting out Andrew Dice Clay lines and things like that because, and I remember, before I walked away from William Forsythe, after I got my picture with him, and after that we continued to talk more about Andrew Dice Clay. He's like, good taste, brother. Good taste, brother. He was pointing out my Andrew Dice Clay shirt, so I thought that was so freaking awesome that, hey, William Forsythe is a really big fan of Andrew Dice Clay. So I thought that was pretty freaking cool. He signed the quote that I wanted, which is my favorite quote of his from the movie. And I remember when I said, can you sign that quote for me? And he laughed and he was like, I'll tell you a funny story about that. When I said that, Brian Bosworth said, he can't say that about me. And then he was going through this whole story about how funny that was. And some really cool behind-the-scenes stories with Brian Bosworth on the set of Stone Cold. It was a pretty cool little story, funny story. Which is William Forsythe is just a fantastic guy, a very humble guy. He's been in so many things over the years. And for a big name like William Forsythe, very humble guy, just all around really, really nice guy. So, like I said, I'm going to do the whole splicing in stuff with pictures, things like that. So here is my picture with Mr. William Forsythe. And of course, there were a few celebrities there that kept their mask on because that was because of the mask mandate, things like that. Some chose to wear the mask while most of them took down the mask because that was the same thing with Monster Mania, where all around the con you have to wear your mask over your face except for when you take the pictures with the celebrity. You can take your mask off or pull it down, and then when you're done you can put it back on, pull it back up. Some of the celebrities here chose to keep their masks on. I respect that. Granted, it's a mask mandate. What can you do? There's nothing you can do about that. You can't go against the mask mandate. That's what the conventions and all that stuff require. So, I'm just thankful that cons are back up and running again. But with that mask mandate, you can't work around it. You got to follow guidelines. So, can't really do nothing about it. But William Forsythe, but it didn't ruin my experience at all with William Forsythe. Still a very nice guy. You know what I mean? It's you can't really do nothing about the mask mandate, but what can you do? But it's still the picture still came out really, really great, and my Blu-ray that he signed turned out fantastic. So here is the picture of my autographed Blu-ray of William Forsythe's autograph on there. Okay, so after I got William Forsythe, I went a few tables down, and he had no line at all. And my shout out to Rob and Alex because they got to meet this guy before I did 2 years ago, and that of course is Tony Moran. Now, for people who don't know who Tony Moran played Michael Myers in one scene in the original Halloween. So the scene where Michael Myers is in the closet and he gets the coat hanger in the eye and he pulls the mask up, that's Tony Moran's face. That's not Nick Castle in that scene. So Tony Moran and Nick Castle shared the role of Michael Myers in the original, even though Nick Castle was mainly the guy behind the mask. of Michael Myers, but in that one particular scene with the coat hanger in the eye and the mask gets pulled up, it's Tony Moran. So Tony Moran's famous for that scene with the coat hanger. So I figured I'd get him next, and Rob and Dan. Yeah, Rob and Dan, I'm sorry. Dan didn't meet him, I'm sorry. I mean, Rob and Alex got to meet him. They said he was awesome, things like that. So I had to meet him for myself. Tony Moran, very, very nice guy as well. It's kind of funny. My buddy Alex actually asked me to do him a favor, and he was like, when you go up to meet Tony Moran, excuse me, show him the picture of him and Rob together with Tony Moran from 2 years ago when they went to like a haunted house attraction to go meet him and see if Tony Moran remembers them. So I the first thing I brought up to Tony, like I said, like, how you doing, things like that. He's like, oh, I'm enjoying myself quite a bit. How about yourself? And the first thing I brought up was, my buddies Rob and Alex met you back in 2 years ago, and he was like, what state? And I'm like, it was in Illinois. And he's like, let me see a picture of them. So I showed him the picture that Alex sent me of him and Rob together with Tony. And when Tony looked at it, he's like, I remember those guys. I remember I told Rob he was a tall motherfucker. so I thought that was so freaking awesome that Tony Moran remembered Rob and Alex. He gave his thanks to Rob and Alex to tell them I said hello. And before I walked away from Tony Moran after I got my picture taken with them, he said to me, tell that tall motherfucker I said hello. So he was talking about Rob. So the very, very fun guy, very fun meet Tony Moran, and Alex and Rob were definitely right about Tony Moran. Very, very nice guy. I shook his hand probably 3 separate times. Talked to him for like 10 minutes. Saying it was an honor to meet him, things like that. I can tell Tony Moran really appreciated that. And overall, I mean, Tony Moran, just definitely one of the best, definitely one of the highlights of me for this con today, on Saturday. So, Tony Moran, definitely a very cool guy. So, here is my picture with Tony Moran. And here is a picture of Tony Moran signing my Halloween Blu-ray. And the actual autographed item. Okay, next up, after I went for Tony Moran, I decided to hit the next person that did not have a line, and that was to add to my Friday the 13th box set was Judy Aronson. Of course, Samantha from Friday the 13th Part 4. She was also Hilly in Weird Science, which is a fun role. Been in other stuff as well, but I mainly got her on my Friday the 13th box set. Judy Aronson, really, really nice lady as well. She was the one, I think one of the only few, I think the only celebrity that had like a social distance sort of like thing with her table. She required like a mask being worn, things like that, because the mask mandate and things like that. Her agent had the mask on too, and things like that. So you got to stand like a certain amount of feet from Judy Aronson when you got your picture taken with her. You got to keep your mask on. Things like that. So they're like, because of this mask mandate, I mean, you gotta kind of stick with that. I mean, you can't do nothing about it, but it doesn't ruin the experience for me personally. Judy Aronson was really, really nice to me. Really, really nice lady. I remember I handed her my box set, and she was looking at it for like a good couple solid 2 minutes or so, and then she was thinking about it for a second. So then she try to scream as much as she can from under her mask, and she was like, do you want me to write "screw you, Thomas," or "Thomas, let's go strip and dip"? And I was thinking for a moment, I'm like, do "screw you, Thomas." I like that one the best. So because I know I'm sure she's probably always used to writing strip and dip, which is a famous line of hers from the movie, but I got her to write "screw you, Thomas," and put Judy Aronson a heart, and she put Friday the 13th Part 4, which was cool, and her character named Sam. So I thought that was really cool. Came out really, really nice as well on the black Sharpie. So Judy Aronson, another great meet, a great addition to my Friday the 13th box set. So here is my picture with Judy Aronson.